Okay, I think we're recording. So this is going to be our Girl Boss post-summit call and takeaways. And Amanda, thank you so much for joining us and spending a night out. So I'm going to try to I want to be as respectful of everyone's time. I have two pups that desperately want to go to the PARK before dark. So let's try to keep it around like 30 to 40 minutes, I'm thinking. That way we can talk about everything and then wrap it up and implement and live. So to kick things off, some of you guys I didn't even see at Summit. That's how crazy. I don't know how to make it so you can see me, but that's just how crazy it was. 25,000 people in what seemed like a very small town. So my biggest takeaways, I think, were Gary V. I mean, that was just hit you like a ton of bricks right in the face. And he definitely did not mince words. He did not sugarcoat anything. He basically, for anyone that missed it, I did post a recording. Unfortunately, the girl behind me was very loud. So during the recording, you can hear a lot of her, but you still hear him and you get the basic principle. But the things that stood out to me from his call or from his speech were 98% of you are fundamentally lazier than you think, and how he was saying we could fit 9 more hours of work into each week. But more important than that, the people that are successful, why he shares his training, and the fact that Lindsay actually brought this up to me when I first made those Pick Monkey YouTube videos. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you're giving away all of our secrets." But like he said, 98% of the people don't implement what they learn. So he could share all of his training, he could share all of his secrets, and everyone's going to be like, rah, rah, rah at Summit. But then when you walk away, only 2% of the people are going to take the information and implement, which was a perfect to pair up with Melanie's talk. Did you guys hear her at the general session? Basically, she just outworked the competition. And I don't know, some of you guys might not know because this goes back to 2011, but she's actually on our team. So my coach, Nikki, signed up Melanie. And basically, we had this group text at 5 a.m. And it was always the race in the morning, who's going to be the first one up? Because it was just that point of pride to be I'm the first one up and I'm doing my workout first. So we really did have the group text message. And the thing that's always stuck out to me about Melanie is just her dang consistency. So she's not the most creative. Her graphics aren't the most beautiful. Whatever at the end of the day, she's writing blog posts to get out there on YouTube and Google. She posts her workouts every day, and she literally just outworks the competition. She just hammers away until she's gotten the job done. And she's done that so effectively just by consistency over time that she's been the longest running top coach with no signs of slowing down. So those were kind of where I wanted to kind of start the conversation, and kind of going back to Gary V. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts. Did you think he was too much? Do you feel like you needed that kick in the butt? What was your perception?
He was perfect for me. That's my style.
Get it done. Was there anything that I didn't say that you remember from the talk that really stood out to you?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just get more work done,
Mm-hmm.
You're lazy. I'm lazy. I mean, I posted that in my video today. So.
Well, there was one other thing that he said that I took away, and actually I had heard in one of his YouTube videos before his session, but he said something about patience. He said, I'm not going anywhere. I think the number one problem is that people are impatient. If it takes me 5 years, 10 years to get wherever I need to go, okay, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm patient. That was a really big takeaway for me.
That's brilliant. I mean, I've even said that to people just thinking about the business. If it took you 5 years to build a full-time income where you could work from home, or if it took you 10 years to earn $1 million, would you do it? And then when you do the math, it's oh, yeah, I would definitely do it. But if they don't have that big picture in mind, then I think it is easy to walk away when you're not seeing success. And in fact, just today, somebody had posted in the group about being so 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And if you are, it's I don't know if you guys have ever seen, Lindsay made this video where, why people aren't successful. And basically when you're doing your workouts and you're plugging in, you're basically taking a couple steps forward in your business. But then when people aren't instantly seeing results, they stop doing those behaviors, and then it's like you slide back 10 steps. So now you're even, because now you have to like rebuild that trust all over again. And the less consistent you are, then the longer it's going to take for people to actually say, okay, she's sticking around no matter what. Like, she's going to be here. You guys have no idea how many messages I get. I got one, oh my gosh, it was pretty much every day at Summit where somebody messaged me about wanting to coach or wanting to be in a challenge group. And they would say, no, I've emailed coaches before, nobody reaches out to me, or I had a coach and that coach quit. You know, all these people, and everyone's like, oh, well, how do I find people? How do I find people? And at the end of the day, it's just like Amanda was saying, sticking to it. I get the messages like the people that have tried to stick with a coach, tried to stick with somebody, and then that person has let them down. So then who's getting all the customers? Well, the coaches that have been around and have that track record. And that might seem unfair, but if I'm a customer, I'm going to go with somebody that, you know, like, I want to know that next week when I need accountability, they haven't just decided, oh, this isn't for me. So anyway, that was like a really great point. Anything else on Gary Vee?
I came home and I canceled all my recordings of my soap operas on my DVR.
Ah, that's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I watched TV my first year as a coach, because it was like, I don't have time for this as much as you want to. It's like, cut out all the excess.
I love when you said that you're probably not working as hard as you think. Like, I think a lot of times, like, I've thought I'm working hard, but I'm probably not working as hard as I should actually be working.
Do you think, when you think about what you're doing, do you think it's just like scrolling on Facebook and not actually, because that's where like I find a time waster. It's like, okay, I haven't actually done anything. I've looked at a lot of things, but I haven't actually produced anything. What do you think it is for you?
Yeah, I think it's scrolling, which I've like put the like kill my newsfeed app on my Google Chrome, which has helped a ton. Or just like, I spend like, I feel like more time thinking about the posts that I'm creating instead of just like being just really open and posting what's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you guys have, let's just like go around. So I just feel like I want everyone to say at least one thing. Like, what was like your like biggest takeaway? Like, at the end of the day, if you left Summit with one thing, what would it be? And Amanda, I'll put you on the spot first. Where'd she go?
I'm
Oh, there
here.
you are. You're on the other side now. That was so weird. He like completely moved. So let me put you on the spot first, because I know that you're like in, you take impeccable notes. So
I did take good notes. Thank you for noticing. No, really though, like, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to say two. Okay. Two, short and sweet. So simple, but I think has already made a big impact, at least with my personal confidence, was 100% be yourself. So I was Blue Tracks Halsey. So I had Bonnie Engel and Amy Silverman in there to talk about branding. And I always have admired Bonnie's sense of humor and Bonnie's just like wonderful personality. And so when she said be 100% yourself, that I actually, for a minute, my inner cynic went, yeah, okay, like I can't do that, because I work for a Catholic church. And so I've never mentioned ever that I'm an organist. And I've always felt a little fake, because I know that my fellow musicians are watching me. And so during that, they had a call to action in that session to like post something. And so I did. And I said in it, like, I'm a church organist. Who's going to listen to me? And all my musician friends who never, ever say anything about what I'm posting, they reached out and they commented and they liked. So that was really interesting. Yeah. So just 100% be yourself and say your posts before you write them out loud. That was big. That really, I think it's changed my voice on social media. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was, I put 2 stars by this. I need a really good system for follow-ups and contacts. This is so embarrassing. It's so simple. And after listening to Nikki's National Wake Up Call a few weeks ago about following up, and then hearing about it so many times at Summit, I realized that I need to buckle down. So that's my main project right now, other than the normal things. So yeah.
I love that. I think with the follow-ups, if you think about how long it takes you to make a purchase, like I signed up for somebody's email list. She does like a blog thing. And I mean, I've been on her email list for at least a year. And I actually bought something because just whatever the email was, it like really spoke to me. And I'm like, oh, I need that. I want that. And so it's like interesting. Like they say 8 to 12 times or whatever the statistic is that most people, 80% of people buy after the 7th follow-up. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yay. Julie, you're at the top of my screen. So would you mind going next?
I have like just so many takeaways. I totally agree with the be yourself. Like that just kept like coming back. And, you know, we hear these things a lot in like the bombshell calls and the national wake up calls, but like hearing other people say it and how it related to them, like just really kind of hit home, you know, the find your 5 and the different things like that. Be consistent. And I tell myself that a lot, but like I put stars around it and they kept talking about it. And I even put like, Jules, don't forget how important this is. Make a schedule, make, you know, a calendar where you can post this on this day and this on this day. Like I really want to get a funneling system going. I just feel like I'm consistent in posting mostly, but then like if anything happens and I can't think of anything to post, then I don't. And then I just fall.
I have like a suggestion for that because like I'm creative minded. So then if I don't have anything like I feel like going on up here, then it's like, oh no, what do I post? So I have like a group, like you could create a group, add your husband, and then like delete them out if you want. But then I'll just like screenshot a bunch of stuff and upload it to the group for ideas. And then some days I swear it's like I'm on like a creative high. You know, like if you wake up super early and you got a really good night's sleep and then you work out, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I could post like 20 times today. I'll just write out the post and create a picture with it, and then I'll just save it for like a rainy day because there's always a day where you're just like, I just have nothing. So
that's perfect because I'll do that a lot, or I'll see someone else's post and I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to use something out of that. And I'll save the post, but then I'll look through later when I'm looking through ideas and I'm like, what was it that I liked about that? What was I going to do? So yeah, just get all my ideas organized and laid out.
Yeah. And if you do it in the group, then you can like type, like do a screenshot and then type like what you liked about it. And then you can search. That's what I like about it. You can either look through the pictures or in the search thing where it was like, where was that one thing?
Yeah.
I like what Amanda's saying, the every damn day club, like no matter what. Do you guys ever, I talked about it before just like once, I think like 100% is a breeze, 99% is a bitch. Basically, like if you're only 99% committed, is actually harder because you're mentally battling with yourself all the time. But if you just know every single day you have to work out, every single day you have to drink your shake, every single day you have to do your personal development, it's not even a decision anymore. And right. I think I read that when I was doing Whole30 because it was like, oh, well, is it on the list of approved foods? No, I can't eat it. And that actually made it easier to follow than
like, oh, I kind of eat clean.
Yeah, than just trying to wing it. So I like that, Amanda. Oh, Kara, that's brilliant. Pinterest. I love Pinterest. And you can make it private, a private board, like she's saying. I like that. Okay, Jessica, you're next on my little screen. Oh, real quick, Julie, I was just thinking how you said be yourself, how you really related to the fact that you heard everyone's story with it. What do you think about making like a YouTube video, like what that meant to you? Kind of like a training for your coaches, but then also like a way for people to get to know you on YouTube.
Yeah, because they were really like getting into it, you know, and like weird things, but you want to attract your tribe, you know, and like I really like, this is so gross, but Dr. Pimple Popper videos. But there is like a huge community of people that really like that. And like they've started sharing it to my wall, which is disgusting to some people. But like, I mean, not that I want that to be my 5, but it can be something weirder. It doesn't have to be just fitness, family, you know.
Yeah. Fashion, fitness, makeup. It's like the same. I think if you were to like make a video and just let people kind of see who you are, that would be really cool.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Jessica.
Okay. So I would have to say that the BU definitely stuck out to me as well. And it's funny because I've been going through this like weird like transition for the last 6 months. Not transition, but just like I had to get my fire like reignited. So I think it was perfect that I went to Summit and had all of these things that have been going on in my mind kind of like reinforced. But I think that so many people start out as coaches and they follow us, like they follow their uplines, they follow all these other coaches and like almost forget like who they are as a person. And so for me, it was just really helpful to hear that, not only for myself, because I feel like I'm getting that. Like I don't like for me, like being perfect, not being perfect, but like I would avoid getting on videos. I would avoid Facebook Lives because I don't shower very often because I'm at home, right? So I would avoid that instead of just showing up and saying, look, this is who I am, and sharing my knowledge, getting on and training my team or whatever. So like to be able to share with my team, like not necessarily don't shower, but like show up, like stop feeling like you have to be perfect to get in front of your team or to get have to be perfect. Like just be yourself and let that shine through with whatever you're doing as far as your social media or if you're just getting on and training your team. So that was like a huge takeaway for me. And then the other thing, of course, every time I hear Melanie Mitro talk, it's just like, wow, she is so stinking consistent and just so, she treats her business like a business and like she is almost like an employee with her business. Like there are no, I'm going to put this off for later, or like, you know, maybe I don't do my workout today or whatever. Like she has been consistent for years and that's why she's a top coach. Like so she says she doesn't do anything like huge, but she's just been consistent in showing up day in and day out for so many years. Mm-hmm. So that always, like every time I hear her speak, it's like, yeah, stop being lazy, get up, do your workouts, do your PD and get your shit done. So, and then the last one that I want to share is for me, like I've been a coach for a while now, and I don't know if any of you feel like this, but sometimes challenge groups just suck. Like your challenge groups are like, you can't get participation and like you're trying really hard and you feel like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing wrong? And you kind of like peter out yourself. Like you might be all gung-ho in the first week and you're posting and maybe you have engagement or maybe you don't, but like you're showing up every day. And then you start to kind of dwindle away because you're not seeing the engagement. And then 2 weeks into your group, like there's nobody posting. When I heard, I think it was Allie, Juanita, was it Allie Upham? Where is she? Was it? I can't remember who the other person was. It was Silver Track C.
I think it was Chelsea.
But they were
Chelsea Pearson and Allie Upham.
Yeah, there you go. So they were talking about challenge groups, and this like really stuck out. Like we are coaches to help people start programs and finish them. And sometimes we get caught up in all of the, of course we want to rank and dance and like, but that should be our focus, to help people start programs and finish them and to be great coaches. And for me, like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't have been crappy. Like truly holding people accountable, truly walking them through their programs and really giving them the tools and the support that they need to start their programs and finish them. So that was like a big aha for me. Like, how can I actually be a better Beachbody coach? Not just for my team, but like for the challengers that join my challenge groups every single month. So those were my takeaways.
Brilliant. I loved them all. I mean, I have so much to say, but I want other people to be able to talk. But thank you for sharing. Seriously, that was gold. Kelsey, you're next on my list. Do you feel like sharing your opinions?
Yeah, I feel like the session that Chelsea and Allie did was like super eye-opening for me too. Like, in just, it kind of reinforced that like being consistent in everything like that Melanie says, but just that like I feel like, and I've seen it kind of on my team this week, like our dedication towards like our fitness and then actually helping people get transformations. And it's not just about like making a sale or getting a Success Club point, but like helping them get success and transformations. And one of the things one of them said was like turning like success points into success stories. And so it was just super like, I don't know, it just kind of hit me in the face. Like, I feel like for a while, like it's been like, oh, I'm trying to hit like these points or hit this rank, and it's become less about the people. And I have really just come back and been like, it's about the people. Like, it doesn't matter if they're buying the base pack because they can't afford Shakeology this month. Like, I want to help them see results. So
Awesome. I'm totally going to quote that. That's so great. Juanita, do you want to go next? You're next on the...
Hey there. So I think my biggest takeaway, and Jessica and I talked about this a lot, but was be yourself. I know I come from a career in real estate where you couldn't be yourself. I mean, our office meetings, I mean, we discussed social media. If you posted anything that wasn't work related, or if you were out drinking, or I remember the first time I posted my before and after pictures in my bathing suit, I was still working in that office, and it was like oh my gosh, you know, it's totally against their policy. So somebody mentioned it in one of the training. Seriously, the most beautiful thing is being able to be yourself and not trying to act like somebody you're not. And it just kind of hit home. It was, you know, I think it's so true. You're going to attract whatever you're posting about. And if you're trying to be like another coach or top coach, you're going to attract people that you just don't vibe with. So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
And you're competing with that top coach who really is that person. So it's like shooting yourself in the foot. I love that. Kara, do you want to go next and share?
Tracy Morrow was one of my favorites, and I love how she said, if you don't do you, then you don't get done and the world misses out. And that really stood out to me because how she was just talking about being real with yourself, and also tying into Shaun T with working on my own transformation again. I feel like when I first started and I had my P90X transformation, I had so many people coming to me asking what I was doing. And then I feel like I kind of just got complacent, I guess, and thought, you know, oh, what workout do I want to do today? And I would just pick something random, and I wasn't really committing to anything. And I feel like I kind of started going downhill with my own journey and not being honest with other people about what I was really doing. So I'm recommitting to Country Heat and hoping just by sharing that for 30 days and continuing, but, you know, just kind of building my interest again and starting back at square one and just doing me and not worrying about what other people are doing. So
I love it. Is anybody else doing Country Heat? Okay, that's awesome. I think the coolest thing about a new program is you can like create your own test group because you've never done it and they've never done it. So it's like, hey, this is a test group. And then people somehow seem to feel like that's more exclusive and exciting, which I know that I do. So that's awesome. Hopefully in 30 days, we'll be seeing some really cool results. Jeff and Nina, do you guys want to share next?
Okay. Go ahead.
I think for me, it's shifting our focus from coach to a leader. Because, I mean, we all want to be our own boss. But to me, I mean, it's hard to accept that most of the time I'll be waiting for Jeff to tell me what to do, or to looking for, you know, for Katie to, you know, like keep that pushing, like, hey, you know, get on team cups, or, you know, hit Success Club 5 and things like that. We all know that. I know that, like, you know, but I just like, oh, I'm just waiting. So, you know, with shifting our focus from a coach to leader is my biggest take. And we heard this all the time before, that, you know, done is better than perfect. And for me, I feel like I spent too much time to like, oh, you know, crafting a post and and spend too much time on like, oh, design this color, like something that doesn't really matter, like, and, instead of, putting a lot of my time on something else towards my business, but with that little thing, I think it's just consumed too much time. And, I rather, working on more personal development or talk to the, like reach out, get in touch with potential challenger and things like that. So that is my biggest take from the summit.
Everybody's muted. Can you hear me? Cool. So to kind of add on to, I guess, what everybody else really talked about, I feel like the theme for Summit this year was share your story and be you. I feel like everybody in every session kind of touched on that. And for me, that kind of hits home. I've never really been true and really, shared my entire story. I've never gone back to like a long time ago when I had a lot of health issues, when I smoked a lot, when I drank a lot, when I was, complete shit show. I've never told anybody about any of that. So since I've been back, I've kind of started to write that. And just getting that out has been really liberating. So I can't wait to get that finished up and start sharing that. A few other things. Recruit with intention instead of just, for points or for, to make a challenge pack sale or whatever it is. If you're recruiting a coach, like hopefully they have the same goals as you, so you can push your team in the same direction. I can't remember who that was from. Whoever had the Becoming a Top Recruiter session. Remember who that was from. And then Amy Silverman and Bonnie Engel. I got 5 pages of notes from them. They're just, talking about being you and actually attracting your tribe. And it's not trying to be other people. Like, we follow all these people and they're successful and we want to do what they're doing, but we're not them. I guess 5 or 6 people have already talked about that, but it's something I've done, trying to do what other people are doing, and it bombs like every time when you're not you, What else? I thought I had one more.
No more.
I had one more from Gary Vee that we didn't talk about yet. I don't remember. I'll come back to it if I find it.
Yeah. Type in the chat if you think of it. Dennis, I don't know if you're there. He just disappeared. Oh, there you are.
Sorry, getting my son some food. So.
Ah, so sweet. Do you want to share any takeaways you had?
Sure. Yeah, the biggest thing for me was, everybody's already said it, but the hard work and consistency. It was one of the things where it's like, I didn't realize how lazy I was being, or until you really put in. Oh yeah, the last few nights, it's just been, I've gotten so much done just by working hard and being consistent and everything. So it's good to get back on track again. I got a lot going on, so it's good. It keeps me on track and keeps me going. So that was my biggest takeaway. And I loved Gary Vee's talk to the point where I went and bought Jab, 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 Right Hook. So excited to start that one. But
yeah, that book is brilliant, and I love that he gives so many examples where you're just like, oh my gosh. It's so easy to look at a different company or somebody else and pick it apart and see what's wrong with it. And then you can take that to your own post and kind of look at it with fresh eyes. It's amazing. Oh, that's so smart. Jeff said, do things on social media that would cause you to take action if you saw it. What would attract you or catch your attention?
Right. And not always, but I've always tried to share stuff that's kind of like what some other people have done that I've seen them get success with.
Mm-hmm.
That bombed for me because, I didn't really care about it myself, So,
you wouldn't respond to somebody else's thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. He's like a master of social media. I'm like, okay, I'll get on Snapchat.
Right.
That's awesome. All right, Silvana, do you want to share next? Make sure you take yourself off mute. There we go.
Yes. Hey, first, I just want to say I'm so excited that I saw probably 10 of you at Summit. So that was like a challenge of mine to get to see everyone who I only see through Facebook. I really wanted to hug you all. And second thing is, let's see, I was writing things down. One thing that actually I was just watching this video from Scabby Hobbs, and he was talking about to set goals, like what do you want to bring to Summit next year? So it made me think about how scary are to set goals. And he talked about how did he start his first summit. And he said, well, my first summit I brought 10 people. Then the second summit I brought 20. And he kept going up and up. And he hit those goals. So something that I want to tell you, everyone, is kind of scary to say, but I think I can do it because I know I'm made for more. I really want to bring 10 coaches for this summit coming up next year. And that's something that Scabby Hobbs kind of encouraged me to set a goal. Another thing that, another takeaway is from Tracy Morgan. She talked about emotionally connect. I feel that I like to just be true to everyone that I know. This is what you see, this is what you get, and I like to give everything that I can. So I struggle writing. Can you guys hear me? Yes, okay. I struggle a lot with my story. So how do I need to connect emotionally with everyone through my post? So I need to work in that. I don't know how else can I connect to people. So I'm trying to do my best on that part. And what else? Sorry. Oh, another thing is that I think Miguel Carrazo mentioned something about when I do my workouts and I post my selfie and I say, hey, it was great and I'm sweating and that's it. So I think I have to be a little more real about how hard are the workouts. I don't think I'm doing that much. I don't know if you guys follow me, but I feel like he is right. Workouts are really hard. Before this call, Mike and I we were working out. I told him, get here at 5, we need to work out because I have a call. And it was pretty hard. And I need to communicate that to people because I'm a real person and I have been losing weight because of Beachbody, and people should know the hard work that it takes, because it's a lot of work. A lot of work to say no to ice cream, a lot of work to not just wake up at night and have popcorn, because you all know that I love popcorn. And I just need to communicate a little more that to the people who is following me and who is watching me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that goes back to the theme, like Jeff was saying, be authentic, be yourself, like your story. So that really sounds like a topic we're going to have to get more into, because it seems like everybody was really affected by that, which is awesome. Lindsay, do you want to go ahead and share?
Sure. I had 3 big takeaways, actually 4, and one of them was the fact that I went to Summit in the first place. I wasn't going to go. Julie talked me into it. Thank you, Julie. But the main 3 things for me were, 1, the consistency everywhere in my life. I mean, I've been kind of back and forth with Beachbody for a while now, and I feel like because of the consistency problems, I'm never fully committed. And so I'll make a lot of success, especially personally, and then just sort of let life get in the way and not come back to it. And so then I find myself back in the same spot over and over and over again. And then I look back and I go, oh my gosh, if I had just stayed consistent the whole time, by now I would be right where I wanted to be, right where I wrote down that I was going to be by this point, had I just followed through and continued doing exactly the thing that I'd said I was going to do in the first place. So that's probably my first big takeaway, especially as far as the business side goes. The second one was what Shanti was talking about transparency. I find myself not sharing on social media. I just, within the last 2 months, I left my husband of 13 years. And so I've gotten to this point where like I had over all the events leading up to that, I just let myself completely fall by the wayside. I completely stopped any sort of health journey whatsoever, stopped posting on social media pretty much altogether, stopped everything just because I was too afraid to let everyone see that I had a struggle, which when I sort of started reaching out to people, I figured out how many people in my life, whether I'd met them or knew them or had an acquaintanceship with them, were going through something very similar all at the exact same time. And we could lean on each other and then find ourselves again that way. And that would bring even more people in and give me the opportunity to learn and grow that way. And I think my other thing was actually not even related to any of the actual general sessions or anything like that. It was at the celebration when they were showing the before and afters. And I realized that like I had this weird moment, like I had to like sit there and fight tears, just knowing, I started this in 2013 at 356 pounds and I've lost 90 pounds and that's great, but that is nowhere near my end result. And that realization as I watched these people do exactly the thing that I set out to do and what I could accomplish in my business by doing my personal journey first, just like I just had this aha moment of this is why I'm here. This is why Julie convinced me. This is why my life worked out in such a way that at the very last minute I was able to toss everything together and randomly just go to Nashville. It just made me realize that if I don't work on me, then the rest of that, the consistency, the transparency, all of that can't fall into place until I make room for it too. So I just felt like it just gave me this kind of personal realization that I'm ready for that. And so the rest is just going to have to follow, if that makes any sense.
Oh my God. And I'm like trying not to cry because like those stories and just like what you're saying, like 95 pounds, like that's insane. And I think I actually turned to Rich in the celebration and I was like, this like literally reminded me why we're here. Like,
right.
Stories that was so crazy. And it's not about the $100,000, like watching those stories when the girl was like, put her arms around her dad and she, they said that she can fully hug him. Oh my gosh, I get chills. Like
me too, even just when you said it.
Oh, those stories. It's like, because it's not just a story. It's like, wow, that's somebody's life, complete 360 from, and just like I'm sure you look back on your story from 2013 and say, oh my goodness, how things have changed. And not all good, but it's all part of your journey and you can turn that into just like something incredible. Turn your mess into your message, as they say.
Right. I like that.
So good. I hate moving on. I just want to talk about everyone's things for like ever. Caitlin, I think you might be cooking dinner, but I don't know if you want to share next.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just eating as we went.
Oh, nice.
I think that when they were saying, like, the untold story, your truth, like, digging deep and finding, like, what's really going on, like, what are your motives? If they were to turn, and Shanti said, if they were to turn the TV on to you, would you be doing what you say you're doing? And so I kind of correlate that with, like, being your true, authentic self. And the whole reason I started this was because I want to have because I have PCOS and I want to have a baby. And I haven't said that one time out loud on social media. And so I feel like it spoke to me when they said that, like, maybe, like, I'm sharing my journey, but really, like, that's where my heart is, and that's where I tap into and I connect, and that's what made me start in the first place. And so it inspired me to kind of, like, come home and, like, obviously talk to my husband and make sure, like, that he's okay with me publicly blasting that information. But he's, like, totally, he's on board, and I was dreading the conversation, so I was just living in fear and not in faith. And that's what the biggest thing I took away from it.
Gosh, it's like so crazy to me that I don't know, just like really hit home. So be yourself. Do you think you're gonna share, like starting to share more of that part of your journey?
Yeah. And I definitely want to share it. And I think that when I go to do it, it'll flow the way that it's supposed to. So I'm trying not to overthink it because it's like, it's who I am and it's why I started.
I think that would be, I know I keep giving people YouTube video assignments, but, you know, Jennifer Graham made a YouTube video on PCOS, and like, I just think there's something when, in actually, what was I reading today? Oh my gosh, what was I reading? Where they said when you, oh my gosh, it was this random thing I read, but I was like, this is freaking brilliant. When you type something up, who said read it out loud? Was that a you, Amanda? Okay. So when you type something up, you are typing a post or whatever, and just mentally, like, we make it, not that you're lying, but we just make it sound better. But when you do a video where you're talking, the true emotions, the inflection in your voice, like everything comes across more genuine because we're not trying to sugarcoat it or make it like this nice polished pretty thing. Because when you see text, it's like, of course you want it to be like this nice, like these beautiful sentences and like really great adjectives, and you get your thesaurus out and all this stuff. But when you do video, that's when people can really see you for you, and you're not proofreading it and you're not overthinking it. So anyway, I'm going to have to find that little thing I read because I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so true. So I think a video for something like that where there are other people struggling with it, and it's an emotional thing, you know, it's about growing your family. So I think a video would just be like amazing. You don't have to do live, but I would say do a video.
Thank goodness. Okay, I'm on it.
Awesome. Amy, do you want to share next before all your things are, all your takeaways are taken?
We're just getting ready to type because I don't know how many more people we have to go, but we're at 45.
I think we only have a couple. So I think Christy, I'm trying to see who is at Summit. Christy, Alyssa, were you at Summit? Okay. So just a couple more.
Everyone has pretty much covered most of what was said. Being transparent, being open, being yourself.
How does that relate to you though? Like, what did you take away?
Well, I took away all of that, but the one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet was from Allie Upham and Chelsea Pearson's training, and she said, your eyes should be drawn to the light in the darkness, not frustrated. I'm such a crybaby. Not frustrated that the darkness exists. So I've been really emotional like for 2 weeks. Maybe I need to go to the doctor. But yeah,
hey,
I mean,
you do you, boo, like Allie Upham would say.
right, yeah. I think that was I've been really frustrated and not motivated. So I think this is what I needed to get back on track. So
I'm gonna need you to type that out because that was just
I'll do that.
Good.
I'll do that.
Do you feel like I know obviously the post-summit hangover happens and it's like a lot and everyone probably wanted to sleep for a couple of days, but do you feel like you got that fire back? Because I've been watching your post and it seems like you're like everyone's kind of getting back to the fitness and getting back to
I mean, what kind of sucks is I think I hurt my lower back lifting my dog, so I didn't want to start country heat. But it was like on the way home. No. But let me try to read this one more time. Your eyes should be drawn to the light in the darkness, not frustrated that the darkness exists. So.
Yes. And it's so funny because this week, I mean, so many of you guys have joined me in just being more solution oriented. And just for me, that means, like you're saying, instead of being frustrated that there are these obstacles that come up, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to work around it? Because if I'm going to let every little frustration stop me, then we're not going to do anything.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, Gary Vee touched on that too. Like, don't be mad that this is where it's going or that the Facebook algorithm changed. You
Yes.
know, adjust. So
Yeah, what's that quote where it's like, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better, or something like that. It's so true.
Oh, yes.
It's like, do we want to rise? Like the cream always rises to the top, and I want to be like, I want to rise. I don't want to stay down here. So, love that you brought that up. That's a really great point. Christy, first summit, new coach. I'm so anxious to hear. Actually, funny story, you guys. Christy and I was so tired on Sunday, and we ended up on the same flight. I don't know how she got a flight to Florida and then all the way back up north. But I was so tired that Rich was like, you were incoherent. Like, I don't even know what I was saying to you, but I hope it did not embarrass me. So.
No, it was totally fine. I was just glad that fate worked out and I was able to have a little bit of one-on-one time with you. So that was cool.
Yay.
But, I think for the summit, my big thing was just, I was in Beachbody before and I've had issues with, being consistent. So this time when I came back in, I knew I need to be consistent and follow along with my plan and not let life get in the way and, certain things in life. I went through, depression issues and divorce and all that stuff that just let me just kind of pushed everything out. But now I feel better and I'm back in, and I know that I felt so much better when I was involved with Beachbody and in my gym and working out. So, I'm ready to do this time. So I know I need to be consistent. I loved Gary Vee saying that, 97% of people fail in this business because they're just, he said, that we're all lazy basically. And I think, some people are lazy, but I think that you have to be consistent and do your plan every single day. And another thing I learned from Summit was to get a success partner. So, I think you remember me talking to that guy in line when I was getting on the plane.
Yes.
And I ended up sitting with him from Florida back up to Rhode Island.
Oh.
Yeah, so we I was giving him a bunch of tips, and he was giving me tips back, so we kind of decided that, since we lived close to each other, we could be success partners. So we've been going back and forth on the phone every day and through Facebook and keeping each other accountable. So that was good. So I've been keeping on track because we agreed that we would do a video every day and post it on Facebook, and I'm doing YouTube too and that kind of thing. So just trying to be consistent, really. That was my big thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's that quote. You guys know I love quotes. It's like, but I can never remember the full thing. But it's something like, just about putting one foot in front of the other. And then when you look back, it's like you've gone 2,000 miles. It's just like,
right.
I feel like Melanie's talk was so good because she really did emphasize the amount of work that she puts in and how dang consistent she is. But at the same time, you could have an incredible business. You could be a 6-figure income earner if you're even doing simple things every day. And if you were to hit Success Club 5 every single month and be recruiting, 3 coaches a month for the next 24 months, you would end up somewhere incredible. So I think if you want to be a top coach, you're going to have to like Gary Vee it up and Melanie Mitro it up. But you could, even if you're just taking those small, consistent steps every single day, you're going to end up somewhere incredible. I think, Kayla, I just realized that you haven't gone, but you're definitely at Summit. So did you have anything you wanted to share?
Well, yeah, Summit, I just needed it. Like, I was in such a funk myself before. I was going through like a bunch of health stuff with endometriosis, and I held that all in, which is super hard. And then I shared that right before there, and it was just like, all this came out, be yourself. Well, I wasn't sharing myself and what I was going through and how these intense workouts were like killing me because I couldn't keep up. And basically that. And so I was starting to lose the passion in this business. And the reason I signed up in the first place was to help other people. I started seeing like people as points and ranks, and it just all like was falling apart. So that's was like a big takeaway. And then I wasn't giving myself the time that's needed for this. And Melanie Mitro said from Diane the Naiad, is that her name? That she said she couldn't do a fingernail more. And I wasn't there. I could have done more. I just chose not to. So since we have been back, I've been getting up at 5 a.m., getting my workout in and working before my kids get up because I want to have that balance, and I wasn't getting that. Other quote was, if you don't love what you're doing and you don't have passion for it, you will quit. And that's where I was getting to. And I had so much passion in this business at one point that I don't know where it went. And then the last takeaway was being all in doesn't mean all day. So learning to separate and like walk away from my phone. Because when I get all in, it's really hard for me to step away because I'm scared I'm going to miss something and miss that connection or whatever. So those are my takeaways from that.
So good. Really good. I actually wrote that down. I've been taking notes, by the way, on everything everyone's been saying.
And that was Summer
Tucker.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really good. I wanted to ask everybody that was not at Summit, there's a couple of people that are on the call. Did you guys watch any of the general sessions, or just from hearing this, do you guys have any takeaways that are like light bulb moments where you're like, oh my gosh, because it's so cool to see everyone went to all these different sessions and you guys are pulling quotes and things. It's like, you don't need to hear the whole session to be inspired by like what Kayla was just saying, for example. So I'm curious if anything stood out to you guys.
Hey, can you hear me? Mm-hmm. I'm going to apologize if my kids start screaming in advance. I was not there. I've taken away from this, just be me. I'm like afraid to tell my story sometimes. I don't know why. But I'm just going to stop being
alone, so that's good.
And I'm one of those, I will write down my post before I type it. And then I read it and I reread it and I change things and I delete things and I add things. So it ends up not being me. I'm trying to tell people what they want to hear as opposed to what I really want them to hear. So I'm going to stop doing that. I'm just going to type it, send it, post it, put it on Snapchat, whatever I'm doing, and just be done. I got to get over my fear of video. I don't like this yet. I'm not at a point where I like me yet, so I won't do a video, but I'm determined, and you all are hearing me now, I will do one tomorrow.
Yay!
It could be midnight. It could be 5 a.m., so no one sees it, but I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. I just need to kind of, I'm at a line, I'm at a little wall, like I'm comfortable where I can do things, but I got to get over that wall. And I think when I've gone to Summit, I may be over that wall now, but just hearing everything here, it's everything I want to do that I haven't done. So I'm going to do it.
I think one thing I want to just encourage everybody, or at least share from somebody who's been in the business for 5.5 years, is if you think I don't lose the passion sometimes, or Lindsay Matway or Melanie Mitro, or like all these like names and people you guys know, if you don't think they lose the passion, if you don't think that they have a lack of confidence over certain things, then you're wrong. I mean, we talk about it all the time. The girls and I, it's just like, okay, how can we make challenge groups fun for us again? Or how could we make Facebook fun? Because sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to post. So you have to go through those phases of doing things like going to Summit where you get recharged, or constantly reading personal development. Like I was actually getting to a point with personal development where I'm so sick of reading the same things over and over. So I picked a book that I actually posted about today that's completely different than anything I've read recently, because it's like you have to, feed your soul. And that goes back to that topic of be yourself, be authentic to you. Just because everyone else is reading the compound effect doesn't mean that that's what you need to be reading. So I just at least want to offer that encouragement and know that it is a journey, and it's never like, oh, you're an elite coach, so you've got it all figured out. No, elite coaches just know that there's this process that you have to go through every few months or once a year at least. And then you can kind of get that fire back and get, rolling again. But the whole concept is that you're staying consistent with the little things so that you don't have to rebuild that momentum. So it's kind of like, imagine you're going up a hill, and if you stop being consistent, then you backslide. But if you stay consistent and make it to a certain point in your business where you have a following and you could, I can kind of step back a little bit and still see results, then you're like on the other side of the hill. But then, of course, if you want to keep growing, you keep doing those things to find that fire again. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But it's just something I hear from new coaches, and a common theme, like people that have been around for a year or two. It's like, it's completely normal to have these things come up. So I need to get the dogs to the park before it gets dark. But are there any final thoughts or anything? Do you guys want to give compliments to each other, or like, hey, you shared this thing and I really liked it, or any last things you want to say? There's always like 30 seconds of having to wait. Somebody be like, is anyone else going to talk?
Is anyone going to talk? Just one more thing that I thought about is, like, if things aren't working for you, don't be afraid to say, what do I need to change? What am I doing? What am I not doing? Like, be the coach you want, to attract is huge. And what you focus on is what comes to you. So that's my final thought.
Oh,
I love it. Yes.
I had one. I kept getting in these, like, why can't I attract coaches that are like me? Because I'm working, but I wasn't working. Like, I was kind of working, but half-assing it. That was Melanie Mitro's. Like, she's like, I invite coaches like me because I was working hard and people saw that. So I'm trying to just stick with consistency. It's all consistency and being you, I guess. Which we should know this.
She said, at least for my session, she said hard workers attract hard workers, and it's so true. It's like, at the end of the day, you're not going to have somebody who wants to be a full-time coach sign up with someone who's a discount coach. It's like they want someone who's running at the same pace or faster. So I think that's a great point. If you're not attracting people, it's like, okay, take that step back and say, like, what am I doing or not doing? Yeah. Yay, exactly. You guys, this is so fun. I honestly was like, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know if they're going to want to get on. So I'm so glad that we did this. And I just always love talking to you guys. So more Zoom parties in the future, I hope. But all right, guys, have a good night. And one last thing, I kind of like wrote all your notes, like what everyone said. But if you guys in that thread where the Zoom call link is, if you just want to pop over there and just like, if it's a quote or whatever your like number one takeaway is, if you guys could share those just to kind of give a little sneak peek and encourage people to watch the recording, because I think this is very valuable. So thank you guys.